You were not born with a name. You were not born with a face, nor a story, nor a role. Those came later wrapped around you like garments stitched by unseen hands, the hands of culture, family, history. But beneath every title you were given, something ancient still watches. The world gave you mirrors and told you who to be: daughter, son, achiever, sinner, savior. It handed you a mask and whispered, "This is who you are. Wear it well." But you are not the mask. You are the fire behind the eyes, the silence between thoughts, the dreamer beneath the dream. And in the still moments when the noise fades and the surface shatters, something calls to you from beneath the persona. A tremble in the soul. A memory older than memory. A voice not heard with ears, but felt with bones. It is the self, and it has not forgotten who you are. The journey does not begin in light. It begins in the place you've spent your life avoiding: the edge of the forest, the mouth of the cave, the broken shard of mirror you dare not lift. It begins in the shadow, the you that you buried, the you that was banished to silence when it did not fit the script. You were taught to shine but not to burn, to smile but not to feel, to perform but never to fall apart. And so your pain became a secret, your rage a whisper, your longing a shameful thing stuffed into the basement of the psyche. But nothing exiled stays buried forever. The shadow waits, patient as stone, and it knows your name, your real name, the one the stars spoke before you were born. You have spent a lifetime running from this part of you, thinking you could outgrow it, outwork it, outshine it. But what you do not face will rule you. What you reject becomes your fate. The wound you conceal becomes the life you cannot escape. And still, it waits. The world told you to be strong, so you hardened. It told you to be good, so you split. It told you to be loved, so you abandoned yourself for approval. But what if the cost of becoming who they wanted was the death of who you are? Somewhere deep within, the child still weeps. Not for attention, not for praise, but for the truth, for the wholeness that was stolen in exchange for acceptance. You were never meant to become perfect. You were meant to become whole, and wholeness is not pretty. It is not polished. It is not painless. It is the sacred work of gathering all the pieces, even the broken ones, the dark ones, the unloved ones, and welcoming them home. Do you hear it now? The quiet knock at the door of your soul. It is the shadow. And it does not come to punish. It comes to return you to yourself. When you finally stop running, when the roles fall away and the masks grow heavy, you may feel the tremor, the sacred terror of facing the unlived life. But this is the beginning. The descent is not a fall, it is a return. A spiral down into the underworld where truth sleeps beneath the ruins. And as you walk through that forgotten valley, you will meet the figures who dwell in your psyche's depths, the wounded inner child who still hides beneath your armor, the rejected lover who aches for belonging, the trickster who mocks your illusions, the warrior who was never allowed to cry. They are not enemies. They are fragments of your truth, keepers of your story. Let them speak. Do not silence them. Do not fix them. Listen. Their voices are not madness, they are maps. And if you dare to follow those maps, if you trace the symbols in your dreams, decode the language of your emotions, step into the fire of your shame and grief and rage, you will begin to remember. Not intellectually, not through books or quotes, but in the marrow, in the myth. You are not who the world told you to be. You are older than your name, deeper than your wounds, wilder than your fears. And you are being called not to improve yourself, not to polish your image, but to awaken, to descend, to reclaim what was lost in the name of survival. This is the sacred revolt. The quiet revolution of turning inward when the world demands you look away. You will not find yourself in the mirror of others. You will find yourself in the dark wood alone, naked of titles, stripped of identities. And there, you will meet the one who has waited lifetimes for you, the self. It does not shout. It does not command. It whispers through symbols, dreams, longings. It speaks in the language of myth, of synchronicity, of archetype. It has always been with you, even when you forgot, even when you betrayed yourself for belonging, even when you became a stranger in your own skin. It wept when you silenced your truth. It raged when you betrayed your depth. It waited when you forgot your name. And now it rises, in the silence between words, in the ache that will not numb, in the strange dreams that pull you from sleep. This is not a breakdown. It is a breakthrough. The self erupting through the cracks in the false self. You are being dismantled, not destroyed, but undone, so that you may be rebuilt in the image of your truth. The old life cannot come with you. The false self cannot survive this fire. But what emerges from the ashes will be real, and you will not need the world to tell you who you are, because you will know, not as knowledge, but as being. You will become the fire, the silence, the dreamer, the one who was never truly lost, only forgotten. And as you walk deeper into the cave of your being, the air grows colder. Time begins to lose meaning. What once seemed clear success, identity, even morality becomes shadowed in ambiguity. This is not confusion. This is initiation. The old compass no longer points north because the map you were following was not yours. It was drawn by the hands of others, shaped by their fears, their stories, their blind inheritance. To awaken is not to gain clarity. It is to surrender to mystery. You are not here to master the world. You are here to remember the world behind the world. The inner terrain, the imaginal realm, the mythic field where soul speaks in symbols and the unconscious is alive with gods and ghosts. This is not metaphor. This is reality, the deeper one. The dreams you brush off each morning, they are messages. The synchronicities that defy logic, they are signs. The emotions that erupt without cause, they are oracles. Your soul has been trying to reach you through every crack in your control. And only now, when the surface begins to crumble, can you hear the sacred whisper beneath the noise. Breathe. Let yourself unravel. The descent will feel like death, and it is. But not the death of life, the death of illusion. The death of the small self, the curated image, the scripted performance. The death of the ego that thought it could control what was never meant to be caged. And in that death, something holy stirs. A glimmer, a pulse, a faint memory. You have stood here before. Not in this body, but in the archetype, the hero at the threshold, the wanderer at the gate of night, the seeker before the dark door of transformation. This path is older than time. You are not walking it alone. Behind you, the ancestors whisper. Ahead, your future self burns like a star. And beside you, the shadow walks no longer feared, no longer rejected, but integrated, held, a companion now. For the shadow, when embraced, does not disappear. It transforms. It becomes your intuition, your discernment, your boundary, your power. It becomes the fire in your blood that no longer hides. You were taught to be tame, but your soul is a wild thing. You were told to be good, but your wholeness includes the dark. You were raised to be someone, but now you are unbecoming everything that is not true. The world may not understand this. It may call your descent madness. It may label your grief as weakness, your silence as failure, your transformation as loss. Let it. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be real. And reality, true inner reality, is not logical, linear, or neat. It is symbolic, emotional, elemental. You are not a machine to be optimized. You are a soul to be remembered. And this remembering, it comes in waves. Not all at once. Not in flashes of brilliance, but in the slow burn of self-trust, in the trembling return of a forgotten truth, in the holy ache of becoming. There will be nights when you feel lost again, moments where the fog returns, where the path disappears. This too is part of the rhythm. The soul moves in spirals, not straight lines. Each descent is followed by a return. Each death is followed by rebirth. And each time you walk through the dark, you come back carrying more of yourself. This is the process Jung called individuation, the sacred art of becoming whole. Not perfect, not enlightened, whole, which means embracing contradiction, holding tension, living in paradox. You are not either light or shadow, you are both. You are not either strong or broken, you are both. You are not either sacred or flawed, you are both. And in that bothness, that mystery, that mess, that magnificent middle, you become real. The mask cracks, the role dissolves, the false self falls away. And what is left is something ancient and eternal. You, the soul behind the eyes, the witness behind the wounds, the self that has watched patiently through all the years of pretending. Do not rush this. Do not force integration. Let it happen the way a tree grows underground unseen, then suddenly undeniable. Let the dreams deepen. Let the emotions speak. Let the silence become your sanctuary. For the self does not shout. It does not demand. It waits. And when you are finally quiet enough to hear, it sings, a song made not of words, but of remembrance, of the river before it was dammed, of the forest before it was cleared, of the child before the conditioning, of the soul before the splitting. And that song is yours. You cannot fake it. You cannot find it in books. You can only feel it when you are brave enough to unbecome, to unravel, to descend into the hidden realm within, and greet every forgotten part of yourself like a lost lover returning home. You are not who the world told you to be. You are the mystery, the myth, the mirror. And you are waking up. You are waking up, not to something new, but to something eternal. Something that never left, only waited, buried beneath layers of performance, of protection, of pain. You were not wrong to hide. You did what the wounded child must do to survive. You shaped your face to be seen. You softened your voice to be heard. You carried the weight of invisibility with grace no one could name. But the time for surviving is over. Now begins the time of becoming. And becoming requires a return. Not to who you were, but to who you are beneath the bruises, beneath the stories, beneath even your name. Names are given, masks are assigned, but the self is discovered, not in the light, but in the dark. Not in praise, but in silence. Not in victory, but in surrender. You were told to climb, but your soul longs to root. You were taught to win, but your healing begins when you lose what was never truly yours. This descent, this sacred unraveling, is not regression. It is alchemy. The fire that consumes you is not here to destroy. It is here to transmute. Ashes are not the end. They are the beginning. Out of the ruins of identity, the soul rises, not triumphant, but true. Not unscarred, but whole. And in that rising, something shifts. You begin to see through different eyes. Not the eyes of the persona, eager for approval, starved for belonging, but the eyes of the witness, the eyes of the eternal. You see that everyone is wearing masks, that the strong are often the most afraid, that success is often a disguise for emptiness, that love, real love, begins only where control ends. You see the game, and you stop playing, not out of rebellion, out of remembrance. You did not come here to perform, you came here to embody, to speak not to be accepted, but because truth has a voice through you. To act not to impress, but because the soul must move when it remembers its rhythm. To live not for a role, but as a ritual, a sacred participation in the mystery of being. This is the beginning of true power, not dominance, not noise, but the quiet knowing of the one who has faced the mirror and did not look away. The one who dared to ask, "What am I beneath all this?" And in the silence that followed, something answered. Not in words, but in symbols, in dreams, in synchronicities, in the ache you feel in the bones when you're near something real. This is the language of the unconscious, Not linear, not logical, but deeply intimately yours. The symbols are not outside you, they are you. The labyrinth is your psyche. The monsters are your shame. The treasure is your true self, luminous, wild, sovereign. And the voice you hear as you walk this dream-dark path. It is me, it is you, it is the self, the inner guide. The archetype that waits at the edge of your awareness, not to tell you who to be, but to remind you who you are. You are not broken. You are breaking open. You are not lost. You are being summoned. The chaos is not punishment. It is initiation. And the life you thought was falling apart, it was never yours to begin with. The life that is coming, it will not be built by effort, but by alignment. Not by strategy, but by surrender. Not by answers, but by presence. And this presence is your power to feel what others repress, to see what others deny, to hold what others reject. This is not weakness. This is medicine. The world does not need more polished people. It needs whole ones, wounded healers, honest mirrors, living myths. And that is who you are becoming. Not someone new, someone remembered. The old soul behind the human name. The eternal presence within the fragile form. The self dreaming itself awake through you. So do not rush to return to the world. Let the darkness do its work. Stay here. Breathe. Let your tears fall like holy rain. They are cleansing the scripts you never agreed to. Let your silence thunder. It is the song of the soul reclaiming its voice. Let yourself be undone, for in the undoing there is rebirth. You are not who they told you to be. You are the wild root under the concrete, the sacred flame in the forgotten cave, the ancient voice that sings through dreams and broken things. You are mystery remembering itself, and your becoming is not a task. It is a return, and now you stand at the edge of the life you once called yours. The skin of your former self still clings in places, familiar habits, old fears, the faint echo of names that no longer fit. But within a silence has grown fertile. A stillness has taken root deep in the soil of your being. And in that stillness, the self has begun to speak. Not in the loud proclamations of the outer world, but in the subtle movements of the soul. A pull toward something you cannot name, a yearning that refuses to quiet, a knowing that does not ask for permission. This is not ambition. It is remembrance. You are remembering what you loved before you were told what to value. You are remembering what you feared before shame taught you to pretend. You are remembering what you are not a role, not a performance, but a vessel for the sacred to move through. The world will not understand. It will ask for proof, for plans, for results. It will try to pull you back into clarity, into productivity, into the trance of becoming someone else again. But you are no longer a servant of that spell. You walk with the invisible now. You serve the soul's fire. You no longer measure your worth in numbers but in depth. Not in speed but in stillness. Not in praise but in presence. You walk slower now, but each step is true. You speak softer, but your words carry the weight of worlds. You do less, but everything you do is aligned with your becoming. This is what it means to live mythically, to live from the inside out. To let your inner world shape your outer path instead of letting the outer path bury your inner truth. And yes, it is lonely here. The soul's journey always is. For you are not following a map. You are becoming one. A walking myth. A living symbol. A soul reborn in a time that forgot what souls are. You are not here to belong to the world. You are here to bring something ancient into it. A memory older than words. A light that shines best in the dark. And you are that light. Not a torch burning outward in conquest, but a quiet flame inside the chest, steadily illuminating the path back inward. So when the world grows loud again, when fear comes knocking in the voice of reason, when doubt disguises itself as pragmatism, return here, return to the cave, to the symbol, to the wound, to the mirror of the inner world where the soul speaks in signs, not slogans, where the dream is not a distraction, it is a guide. Where silence is not absence, it is presence. Where the self waits not to give you answers, but to help you remember the questions that truly matter. What is mine to carry? What must be shed? What longs to be born through me, even if no one understands it but the stars? You do not need to know the whole path. Only the next true step. So take it. Even trembling, take it. Walk not with certainty, but with reverence. Let each breath be a vow to stay awake to the symbols, to the silence, to the sacred strangeness of becoming whole. Because you are not here to be fixed. You are here to be forged. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to embody. You are not who the world told you to be. You are something wilder, softer, truer. You are the breath of the ancient within the now. You are the question the world forgot how to ask. You are the return of what was once buried. And now, you walk on not as a mask, but as a mystery. Not to impress, but to express. Not to win, but to witness. You walk on as the self, dreaming itself awake through the sacred vessel of you. And somewhere beyond the noise and names and narratives, a door opens. Not in the world, in you. And what waits behind it has been waiting all along. Welcome back. Welcome home.